Hi, this is Paul. Welcome to my channel, Talking Music, and today we are talking Fleetwood Mac and Go Your Own Way. Now, Fleetwood Mac, a most remarkable group actually. They had success in the 60s, mega success in the 70s and 80s. They sort of were reincarnated in the early to mid 1970s, and that reincarnation was kind of so strong it was almost as if they were a different band altogether. They were a Brit-American band from the 1960s. John McVie, Christine McVie, his wife, and Mick Fleetwood formed the nucleus of the band along with Peter Green, but when Peter Green dropped out of the band, then the band itself sort of fell into the doldrums for a couple of years. And by 1974, Fleetwood Mac were really not going anywhere. They were a little in turmoil. Their lead guitars had left them, and the band needed fresh impetus and new creative energy. And it was Mick Fleetwood who set about trying to obtain this, and he came across a young duo called Buckingham and Nicks, Stevie Nicks, Lindsey Buckingham. And he was very interested in them. In fact, very interested in Lindsey Buckingham as lead guitarist for Fleetwood Mac, so much so he phoned him up and offered him a job in Fleetwood Mac. And Lindsey Buckingham ummed and ahed about it, said he'd get back to him, and he did, with a proposal. I'll join your band if you'll accept Stevie Nicks as well. So the answer to that was yes. And the Fleetwood Mac we now know and love was formed. They signed up, did Buckingham and Nicks, to Fleetwood Mac on New Year's Eve in 1974. And little did they know, any of the band really, what a tumultuous year 75 and 76 was going to be. Now, Buckingham and Nicks had been together as boy and girlfriend since they were 16 and 17 years of age. And they were getting some traction in the music world. They were doing quite nicely, thank you, moving from level to level and certainly heading in the right direction. They'd been the opening act for some big acts at some big concerts. They'd opened up for Jimi Hendrix in front of 40,000 people. Also for Chicago. So as a duo, they were doing quite well. So the jump to Fleetwood Mac needed to be measured and considered and well thought out. But they thought they could add something to Fleetwood Mac and maybe bring back the glory days that the band had back in the 1960s. What they did do was bring together an altogether more poppy stroke rocky edge to Fleetwood Mac. And Buckingham and Nicks, they'd worked together for a number of years as a duo. They now found themselves part of a trio because Christine McVie had been the songwriter for Fleetwood Mac, also the lead vocalist, and Buckingham and Nicks were going to bring exactly those qualities into the Fleetwood Mac lineup. So instead of working as part of a duo, which is what they'd been used to, now with Christine McVie, they were now a trio. And it was literally a matter of weeks before Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham began to realise that the move they made had been a good one, because they were all equal as songwriters and their voices blended together in three-part harmony. And when you listen back to Fleetwood Mac songs, sometimes you've got Stevie Nicks taking the lead, sometimes you've got Lindsey Buckingham, sometimes you've got Christine McVie. Generally, it's a bit like Lennon and McCartney, really. If Paul took the lead, it was because he'd written most of the song, if not all of it, and vice versa with John Lennon. And the same sort of applied with these guys in Fleetwood Mac. But 75 turned out to be, even though a successful year, the most successful year Fleetwood Mac had since the late 60s, it also was a very bumpy year as well, because within the group you had two romantic couples. You had John and Christine McVie, who were married, and you had Stevie and Lindsey, who were boy and girlfriend and had been since, 67 time. And what with the creative juices flowing and everyone getting excited and wanting to sort of push what they'd written and the way they felt about something, and others feeling the same way about their ideas, there were creative tensions, and that led to big arguments, and it was a bumpy road, 75 for the band, and again in 76 it certainly didn't get any better, even though the success and the hits started coming. Here's what Stevie Nicks thought about it.
For us to make music, we had to yell at each other, and we had to be mad at each other, and we had to fight all the way through, or we just didn't speak. And we came out with amazing music.
So from that, you can get the impression that Fleetwood Mac was kind of fueled by volatility and sometimes anger. And I think this song, Go Your Own Way, written by Lindsey Buckingham, has those qualities, if you can call them qualities, in absolute abundance. The song itself was written in 1976. Lindsey Buckingham one day just messing around with the guitar, as these things so often happen, and he's strumming away, and he's got the Bee Gees jive talking going around in his head. And the way, if you know the song, the way it sort of chugs at the start, it sort of chugs along. And he was strumming his guitar, and he got a sound that he liked, and he kept repeating it. And then the first line of the song came to him so easily. Loving you isn't the right thing to do. And he then knew he had the beginnings of a song. And obviously, with a line like that, he probably had Stevie Nicks in mind, because they were arguing so much, and she said she wanted out. She was done with the relationship. He didn't want that. She wanted a relationship with him as part of the band. She thought the band was very important. It was very important to her. And any little troubles that they might have should not interfere with the overall well-being of the band. And I think the McVies felt exactly the same way. So any trouble that Stevie and Lindsey had, it wasn't going to ruin the band. They were adamant on that. But of course, you know, emotions run high, and one had feelings still for the other and was angry about the breakup. And, you know, those stirring emotions will come to the fore. And those emotions came to the fore quite a lot when the band were together, particularly Buckingham and Nicks. It took 4 months for the song to fully develop after he had that first line come to him so easily. A bit of a slow burner, Lindsey Buckingham would say. But it was an anger song. It became a song that was aimed, and it was vituperative about Stevie Nicks from Lindsey Buckingham's point of view. Stevie Nicks was kind of philosophical about the song at first, but there was one line in the song that she really did object to. It was the lyric that went, "Packing up, shacking up is all you want to do." And she wanted him to change it, but he wouldn't. He was very happy with that line. But she was angry about that line because she felt that he was saying to the world that shacking up with other men was all she ever wanted to do. And it wasn't true. And he knew it. She, of course, knew it. But still, he wouldn't do anything about the lyric. Again, his anger coming out over the breakup of the relationship. And it was that lyric that soured their relationship for a number of years, in fact, many years. They were kind of civil with each other. They were distant. They'd work together for the betterment of the band. But then every now and then there'd be an explosion and a ruction, and old wounds were reopened. On the song itself, you had Lindsey Buckingham lead guitar and acoustic. He was also singing lead vocals and backing vocals. Stevie Nicks was on backing vocals. Christine McVie played the Hammond organ and was on backing. John McVie played bass, and Mick Fleetwood played the drums, the cymbals, and the maracas. So 1976, a good year for Fleetwood Mac in terms of success. They'd had 4 hit singles, top 10s, in the USA. Rhiannon and Say You Love Me among them. But the arguments in the band were getting fiercer and fiercer because the McVies were at the point of breaking up, and they did. And Stevie and Lindsey had broken up and were hurting, Lindsey Buckingham particularly, hurting over the breakup. And it became really difficult. There was a creative tension, no doubt about that, and through that tension they were making great songs. But it must have been emotionally wearing. And it mustn't have been too much fun having to get up and go to work and see the person you've broken up with, or the person who broke up with you, in the studio and having to work with them all day. That must have been difficult. This is what Stevie Nicks had to say.
I think that there's a part of Lindsey that will never quite forgive Fleetwood Mac because he feels that we actually could have made it on our own as Buckingham Nicks. And I think he's right. I agree. And he also thinks that he and I might have still been together had we not joined Fleetwood Mac. And he might be right.
So Lindsey Buckingham, so much to be grateful for by joining Fleetwood Mac. All of a sudden they were getting the success they'd always yearned for. But at the same time, it came at an emotional cost as well with the breakup of his relationship. Now, the album that was to change all of their lives big time was the album Rumours, and they'd set a release date for February of 1977, and work on all the songs from the album had been going on through 1976. And Fleetwood Mac and the record company wanted a single released before Christmas, so that would be Christmas 76, in order to market the album and boost sales. So in December of 76, 3 weeks before Christmas, Go Your Own Way was released as the lead single from the forthcoming album Rumours. At the same time, it was released in the UK and the USA. It did well in the States, reached number 10 in the chart, only number 38 in the UK, so it was more of a miss than a hit, but it didn't really get the radio airplay at the time, and certainly didn't get much TV either. But in the UK, Go Your Own Way has become more and more popular, with fans and non-fans alike, through the decades. So much so that in 2017 it was certified platinum for digital sales in the UK alone of 600,000 copies. And of course this is on top of it being on the Rumours album, one of the best-selling albums of all time, as you can see here. If you look at that list, Rumours very firmly ensconced in the top 10, with record sales worldwide of around 40 million copies. And that album being released, as I say, February 1977, and was such a success. And of course, the other songs that were released as singles from the album, like Don't Stop and You Make Loving Fun and Dreams. Because Rumours, as an album, was so successful, those single releases got a lot of airplay, and as a result were bigger single hits, both in the US and in the UK. That single release date just before Christmas in order to market the album and boost sales certainly worked. Go Your Own Way did what it was supposed to do, and pre-orders for the album reached 800,000 in the States, which was at the time the largest in Warner Brothers history. So as I say, Go Your Own Way had certainly done its job. Now, the song itself has always had very good critical acclaim. Critics from the outset have always really liked this song. The beat of the song has always caused a reaction as well. Mick Fleetwood, his drumming has been lauded critically, and by other artists also. Mick tells the story of Lindsey Buckingham, describing to him how he wanted the percussion to sound in this song. And Mick didn't understand a word he was saying. He couldn't quite grasp what Lindsey was trying to relate to him. So he nodded yes and said, yeah, okay, I'll give it a go. And he gave it a go. He did his own thing. And Lindsey Buckingham said afterwards, this is exactly what I was talking about, Mick. Fantastic. Well done, mate. So Mick did it, though he didn't know how he did it. And Jeff Porcaro, who was at the time the drummer for the Boz Scaggs band, and went on to become the drummer for Toto a couple of years later, actually went to see Mick Fleetwood after a gig and talked to him about the drumming and how unorthodox the drumming was on that song. And he wanted to know how he did it, because it sounded fantastic, said Jeff to Mick. How'd you do it? He said, I really don't know. It just sort of happened. Lindsey Buckingham himself has been critically lauded for his vocal performance on Go Your Own Way, and also his guitar solo work as well. And the song itself received a Grammy nomination in 1978 for Best Vocal. It didn't win. The win went to the Eagles and New Kid in Town, vocals for Glenn Frey, but also in the Eagles, of course, another one of the stalwart members of the band, Don Henley, who played the drums and often did the lead vocals on Eagles tracks. And that must have been a little gnawing on Lindsey Buckingham, because of course, Stevie Nicks walked out on Lindsey Buckingham and before long had entered into a relationship with Don Henley of the Eagles. Stevie Nicks has always been pretty vocal about Go Your Own Way. She hated it, and she hated that line, shacking up. And she said, at times kill Lindsey Buckingham for him not taking that line out. So in order to get her own back, as it were, she wrote Dreams, which also made it onto the Rumours album. She wrote Dreams as a reaction to Go Your Own Way. And she was just as biting about Lindsey Buckingham as he was about her in Go Your Own Way, telling him what would happen when she left. The lyrics from Dreams: listen carefully to the sound of your loneliness, like a heartbeat drives you mad, in the stillness of remembering what you had and what you lost, and what you had and what you lost. She went on to say that they were twin songs, Go Your Own Way and Dreams, the same subject matter, written by two people but coming from two completely different angles.
Dreams was my counterattack to Lindsey's Go Your Own Way. Thunder only happens when it's raining. Players only love you when they're playing. Women, they will come and they will go. When the rain washes you clean, you'll know. Was, his, you can go your own way. You can call it just another lonely day. I was the philosopher, and he was just mad. That was the difference. I looked at it through the eyes of a philosopher, and he just looked at it through the eyes of an angry person that had been broken up with. Now, in the long run, it totally worked. So, it's too bad that he had to be so angry, and it's good that I was able to be philosophic about it. And again, back to that's how some really great music is made, because they say great art is created through tragedy, and there was certainly a lot of tragedy in Fleetwood Mac.
That was Stevie Nicks. Now, the original song lyrics by Lindsey Buckingham reflected the bitterness that Lindsey felt after the breakup, but in later years, listeners have reinterpreted the song as a song empowering the individual to sort of go off and have their great adventure. Go your own way. Don't mess about. Just do it. It's your life. It's your thing to do. Go ahead. And of course, the rousing chorus fuels this sentiment. And the band themselves have in recent years encouraged this new sentiment about the song. So it would seem old wounds have healed. You'd expect that though, really, wouldn't you? After all, it was decades ago. And this song is, without a doubt, one of the most popular Fleetwood Mac songs. You could argue a good case to suggest it is the most popular Fleetwood Mac song. And it's always played at their concerts when they're on tour. And it's usually used as a set closer. Just a terrific song from a fantastic album. That's Fleetwood Mac and Go Your Own Way. We've been talking music. Do hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please subscribe to my channel. I'd love that. And if you've liked the video, then please like. So until next time, when we have another song for you on Talking Music, have a good time and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.